Jake Morrison looked out the big window of the space station. Far below him, Earth looked like a blue marble with white clouds spinning around it. He had been in space for 3 months now, but the sight of his home planet still made him smile. Today was different, though. Today they were going to meet aliens for the first time in human history. The communication room buzzed with activity. Dr. Lisa Yang sat at her computer, checking the translation software one more time. She had worked on this program for 5 years, hoping that one day they would need it. That day had finally come. "Jake, you need to see this," Lisa called out. Her voice sounded excited, but also worried. Jake floated over to her workstation. On the screen was a message that had arrived just an hour ago. The words were in perfect English, which was strange because the message came from somewhere near Jupiter. "Greetings to the people of the third planet. We are the Galactic Confederation. We have been watching your world for some time. We wish to meet with your leaders to discuss important matters. Please prepare a small group for contact. We will arrive at your orbital station in 2 of your days." Jake read the message twice. "They've been watching us?" "For how long?" Lisa shook her head. "The message doesn't say." "But Jake, there's something else. I ran a deep scan on the signal source. The ship that sent this is huge. I mean really huge. It's about the size of New York City." Captain Paul Bennett floated into the room. He was an older man with gray hair and kind eyes. He had been chosen to lead this mission because he was calm under pressure. "Have you two seen the latest reports?" "From Earth?" Jake nodded. "Every government is going crazy down there. Half of them want to hide, and the other half want to throw a party." "Well, we're the ones who have to deal with this," Paul said. "Lisa, is your translation system ready?" "As ready as it can be," Lisa replied. "But I have no idea what these aliens look like or how they communicate. The system will have to learn as we go." 2 days later, Jake stood at the observation window. Again, this time he wasn't alone. Lisa and Paul were with him, along with Dr. Amy Cooper, their medical officer, and Colonel Mike Davis, their security chief. They all watched as something impossible appeared in the distance. The alien ship didn't look like anything humans had ever built. It was beautiful and scary at the same time. The hull seemed to be made of crystal that glowed with soft blue light. The ship moved without any visible engines, sliding through space like a fish through water. "How is it moving?" Mike asked. "I don't see any rocket flames or anything." "I have no idea," Lisa whispered. "Our sensors can't figure out how it works." The alien ship stopped about a mile away from their station. Jake could see its surface clearly now. It was covered in patterns that looked like writing, but the symbols seemed to move and change as he watched them. A new message appeared on their communication screen. "Greetings. We request permission to send a representative to your station. Do you agree?" Paul looked at the others. They all nodded. He typed back, "Yes, we agree. Welcome to human space." "Thank you. Our representative will arrive in your main meeting room in 60 seconds. 60 seconds. Jake's heart started beating faster. In 1 minute, he would be looking at the first alien that any human had ever seen. He wondered what it would look like. Would it be scary? Friendly? Would it even look alive? They all rushed to the meeting room. It was the biggest room on the station, with a long table and chairs for important discussions. Jake realized he was holding his breath. The air in the room started to shimmer like heat waves on a hot day. Slowly, a shape began to form in the empty space near the table. First, it was just an outline. Then it became more solid. The alien was beautiful. It looked like it was made of blue light, but Jake could see through it a little bit. It was tall, maybe 7 feet, and shaped like a human but thinner. Its head was larger than a human head, and where its eyes should be, there were 2 bright spots that seemed to look at everything at once. "Greetings," the alien said. Its voice came from everywhere and nowhere. It sounded like music mixed with wind. I am Ambassador Keffer of the Zephyrian people. We are honored to meet you. Jake found his voice first. Welcome, Ambassador. I am Commander Jake Morrison. These are my colleagues from Earth. The alien's bright eyes looked at each of them. Jake felt like it was looking inside his head, learning everything about him in just a few seconds. Your species is interesting, Keffer said. There was something in its voice that Jake couldn't understand. It sounded like surprise mixed with something else. Fear? Worry? We have studied your world from a distance. Your planet is unusual. Unusual how? Lisa asked. She had her recording equipment running, capturing every word. Keffer was quiet for a moment. The blue light of its body flickered like a candle in the wind. Your world has been classified. In our databases, every planet that has intelligent life gets a classification. Most worlds are Class 1 or Class 2. Some dangerous worlds are Class 5 or 6. Jake felt a chill run down his back. What class is Earth? Your world is classified as Class 13, Keffer said softly. In our language, this means Deathworld of the highest order. The room went silent. Jake looked at the others. They all had the same confused expression on their faces. I don't understand, Paul said. Earth is our home. It's not a death world. It's beautiful. Keffer's light flickered again. This is what we must discuss. According to our measurements, your planet should not be able to support life. The gravity is too strong. The atmosphere is too dangerous. The weather is too violent. Yet you not only live there, you seem to enjoy it. Amy leaned forward. What? Do you mean our atmosphere is dangerous? You breathe a gas that would kill most species in the galaxy, Keffer explained. This gas, which you call oxygen, is highly reactive. It would cause rapid cellular damage to 89% of known intelligent species, yet your bodies require it to live. Lisa was taking notes as fast as she could. What about our gravity? Your planet's gravitational force is nearly double what most intelligent species can survive, Keffer said. The pressure on your body should crush your internal organs. Yet you seem completely unaffected. Jake felt like he was in a dream. Everything the alien was saying sounded impossible. Earth was just Earth. It was normal. It was home. There must be some mistake, Mike said. Humans have lived on Earth for thousands of years. If it was so dangerous, we would be dead. Keffer's bright eyes focused on Mike. This is exactly what concerns us. You have not just survived on a Class 13 death world. You have thrived. You have built a civilization. You have reached into space. This should be impossible. Paul asked the question they were all thinking. What does this mean for us, for Earth? We do not know, Keffer admitted. In our 50,000 years of space travel, we have never encountered a species like yours. We have found the remains of civilizations that tried to live on Class 13 worlds. They all died within a few generations. The alien moved closer to the table. Jake could feel a strange energy coming from its body, like standing near a powerful magnet. This is why we must study your world more closely, Keffer continued. We need to understand how you have done the impossible. With your permission, we would like to send survey teams to your planet. We want to learn about your species and your world. Jake looked at the others. They were all thinking the same thing. This was bigger than just first contact. This was about finding out that humans were apparently something special in the galaxy, something that shouldn't exist. We would be honored to have your survey teams visit Earth, Paul said formally. We want to learn about the galaxy and our place in it. Keffer's light grew brighter. Excellent. We will begin preparations immediately. But I must warn you, Commander Morrison. What we discover may change how your species sees itself forever. As the alien began to fade away, Jake realized that their quiet little planet was about to become the center of attention for an entire galaxy. He just hoped they were ready for what they were about to learn about themselves. 3 weeks had passed since the first meeting with Ambassador Keffer. During that time, Earth had become a very busy place. Every news channel talked about nothing but aliens. Scientists worked day and night to prepare for the alien survey. Teams, world leaders held emergency meetings to decide how to present humanity to their galactic neighbors. Dr. Karen White sat in her office at NASA, looking at dozens of computer screens showing data from space. She was tired but excited. Today, the alien survey ship would arrive, and she would help coordinate their visit to Earth. "Dr. White, we have contact," her assistant called out. "The alien ship just appeared on our sensors." Karen rushed to the main observation room. Through the big windows, she could see a dot of light growing bigger in the sky. As it got closer, she realized just how massive the alien ship really was. It was at least 10 times bigger than the International Space Station. The ship didn't look like the beautiful crystal ship that Ambassador Keffer had arrived in. This one was built for work. It had a dark metal hull covered in strange instruments and sensors. Lights blinked along its surface in patterns that hurt to look at directly. Colonel Steve Rodriguez joined Karen at the window. He was in charge of Earth's security during the alien visit. "That thing could destroy every city on Earth if it wanted to," he said quietly. "Let's hope they're friendly," Karen replied. Inside the alien ship, Survey Chief Vorthek was having his own concerns. He was a member of the crystic species, and his body was made of living crystal that could think and feel. Right now, every part of his crystal structure was vibrating with nervousness. "Chief, the readings from the planet are getting worse the closer we get," reported his second officer, Whisper. Whisper was from the Ethereal Collective, a species that existed as intelligent gas clouds. His voice sounded like wind through leaves. Vorthek looked at the data coming from their sensors. Everything about this planet was wrong. The gravity readings showed a pull that would crush most intelligent species flat. The atmospheric pressure would pop most alien bodies like balloons. The electromagnetic radiation from the local star would cook most life forms in minutes. How do these humans survive in such conditions? Vorthek wondered aloud. "Maybe they live underground," suggested another crew member, a plant-like being called Fernglow. "Or maybe they wear protective suits all the time." "We will find out soon enough," Vorthek said. "Prepare the landing teams." The survey ship entered Earth's atmosphere over the Amazon rainforest in South America. The aliens had chosen this location because their sensors showed it had the most diverse life forms on the planet. They wanted to understand how life could exist in such a hostile environment. Deep in the rainforest, Dr. Alex Chen was having a normal day at his research station. He was studying the different types of insects that lived in the forest canopy. He had been working in the Amazon for 3 years and loved every minute of it. Alex was looking through his microscope when the trees around his camp started glowing with blue light. He looked up to see the alien survey ship hovering above the forest. It was so big that it blocked out the sun. A beam of light came down from the ship, and 3 alien figures appeared in Alex's camp. The first was tall and made of what looked like living crystal. The second looked like a cloud of sparkling gas held together by a force field. The third looked like a walking tree with glowing flowers for eyes. Alex blinked once, then went back to his microscope. "Oh, you must be the alien survey team," he said without looking up. "I was wondering when you'd get here. Want some coffee?" Vorthek's crystal body nearly shattered from shock. This human was completely calm. He wasn't running away or screaming or fainting. He was offering them a drink. "You are not afraid?" Vorthek asked through his translation device. Alex finally looked up from his microscope. "Should I be? You're here to study our planet, right? I study life forms too. We have a lot in common." Vorthek activated his medical scanners to examine this strange human. What he found made no sense at all. The human's body was operating under internal pressure that would turn most aliens into liquid. His skeleton was made of a material that was stronger than the hull plating on most spaceships. But the most terrifying discovery was that Alex's body was fighting a constant war. Millions of tiny organisms were trying to invade his system, and his immune system was killing them by the billions every second. Any one of these microscopic creatures would be deadly to most alien species, but this human's body destroyed them without effort. How do you survive with so many hostile organisms in your environment? Whisper asked, his gaseous form shimmering with concern. Alex looked confused. You mean germs? Everyone has germs. Our immune system handles them. It's no big deal. No. Big deal. Vorthak made a note in his report. The human considered constant biological warfare to be no big deal. What is this beverage you offered us? Fernglow asked, pointing at Alex's coffee pot. Coffee. It's made from ground-up beans. I add some sugar and cream to make it taste better. Alex poured himself a cup and took a big drink. The alien scanners went crazy. The liquid Alex was drinking was hot enough to cause severe burns to most species. It contained chemicals that would be poisonous to 90% of known life forms. The sugar he added would cause instant diabetic shock in most aliens. Is this liquid not harmful to you? Vorthak asked. Coffee, nah, it's great. Keeps me awake when I'm working late. Though I probably drink too much of it. Alex laughed. The survey team spent the rest of the day watching Alex work. Everything he did was impossible by galactic standards. He walked through the forest without protective gear, breathing air that would dissolve most alien lung tissue. He picked up insects with his bare hands, creatures that would be classified as dangerous biological weapons on most worlds. When it started to rain, the aliens expected Alex to run for shelter. Instead, he stood in the open and let the water fall on him. Feels good, he said, spreading his arms wide. I love the rain. The alien sensors showed that the rainwater was mildly acidic and full of biological contaminants. It should have burned Alex's skin and made him violently ill. Instead, he seemed to enjoy it. That evening, Alex made dinner over an open fire. He cooked meat at temperatures that would sterilize most alien medical equipment. He ate plants that his own scanners showed contained natural toxins. He seasoned his food with chemicals that would be used as industrial solvents on most worlds. This is really good, Alex said, offering some to the aliens. You sure you don't want to try it? Vorthak politely declined. One bite of that food would probably kill him. As night fell, the temperature dropped to what the aliens considered dangerously cold levels. They expected Alex to activate some kind of heating system or put on protective clothing. Instead, he just put on a thin jacket and continued working. Aren't you cold? Fernglow asked. A little, but it's not too bad. Gets down to about 60 degrees at night this time of year. Pretty comfortable, actually. 60 degrees. The aliens checked their conversion charts. That was cold enough to cause hypothermia in most species within minutes. Later that night, Vorthak sent his first report back to the Galactic Confederation. It was short and disturbing. Day 1 of Earth survey complete. Initial findings indicate that humans do not merely survive on Class 13 Deathworld conditions. They appear to thrive in them. Human subject shows no signs of distress from conditions that would be immediately fatal to most known species. Recommend increasing survey scope immediately. We need to understand how this is possible. The next morning, Alex woke up early and started his daily routine. He did something he called exercise, which involved pushing his body to what the aliens calculated as 95% of total system failure, then recovering completely within minutes. Gotta stay in shape, Alex explained as he did push-ups. Sitting at a microscope all day isn't good for you. The aliens watched in horror as Alex deliberately stressed his cardiovascular system to near-collapse levels, then casually went back to work as if nothing had happened. Your species deliberately damages your bodies for health purposes? Whisper asked in amazement. Exercise isn't damage, it's improvement. The more you challenge your body, the stronger it gets. Alex wiped sweat from his forehead. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. Vorthik made another note. These humans not only survived impossible conditions, they actively sought out additional challenges to make themselves stronger. By the end of the second day, the survey team had filled their reports with impossible observations. Humans consumed toxic chemicals for pleasure. They exposed themselves to deadly radiation from their star to change the color of their skin. They played games that involved deliberately risking physical injury. Most disturbing of all, they seemed to enjoy it. Vorthek prepared his second report to the Confederation. Humans do not simply adapt to Class 13 Deathworld conditions. They have evolved to require them. Recommend immediate expansion of survey mission. Current findings suggest we have discovered something unprecedented in galactic history. As the alien ship prepared to move to its next survey location, Alex waved goodbye to his new friends. "Come back anytime," he called out. "It was great meeting you. Hope you learned something useful about our planet." As the ship lifted off, Vorthak realized that they had indeed learned something useful. The alien survey ship moved across Earth's oceans toward their next destination. Survey Chief Vorthak studied the reports coming in from other survey teams that had been deployed around the planet. Each report was more disturbing than the last. Team Alpha had visited the Sahara Desert and found humans living in temperatures that would melt most alien equipment. Team Beta had gone to the North Pole and discovered humans who actually chose to live in frozen conditions that would kill most species within minutes. Team Gamma had visited a human city and watched thousands of humans moving around in metal vehicles at speeds that would be considered reckless even for military spacecraft. But the most shocking report came from Team Delta, which had gone to study what humans called the ocean. Dr. Beth Parker was having the best day of her career. She was 3 miles down in the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of Earth's oceans, studying creatures that lived in complete darkness. Her research submarine was built to handle the crushing pressure of the deep ocean, but she had been working at these depths for so long that she barely thought about the danger anymore. Her sonar picked up something unusual approaching from above. It was too big to be a whale and too organized to be natural. As it got closer, she realized it was some kind of underwater vehicle. But unlike anything humans had ever built, the alien submarine was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. It looked like it was made of the same crystal material as their spaceships, but it glowed with a soft green light that cut through the darkness of the deep ocean. A voice came through her radio, speaking perfect English. "Dr. Parker, this is Survey Team Delta of the Galactic Confederation. We request permission to observe your research." Beth's heart jumped with excitement. She had hoped to meet the aliens, but she never imagined it would happen 7 miles underwater. "Permission granted," she said into her radio. "Welcome to the bottom of the world." 3 alien figures appeared inside her submarine through some kind of matter transportation technology. Beth recognized the crystal being as the same type that had visited the research station in space. The other 2 were new to her. One looked like it was made of liquid metal that constantly shifted shape. The other appeared to be some kind of energy being that existed as pure light. "Greetings, Dr. Parker," the crystal being said. "I am Survey Leader Veltar. We are here to study your ocean environment." Beth smiled and offered them seats, though she wasn't sure if beings made of crystal and energy actually needed to sit down. "I'm excited to show you around. The deep ocean is amazing. We're currently at a depth of about 35,000 feet. The aliens' translation devices took a moment to process this information. When they did, all 3 alien beings began making sounds that their translators couldn't convert into English. "Is there a problem?" Beth asked Veltar's crystal structure. was vibrating so violently that it created a humming sound. "Dr. Parker, are you aware of the pressure at this depth?" "Sure, about 1,000 times normal atmospheric pressure. That's why we need these submarines. The human body can't handle pressures like this." The liquid metal alien, who had introduced himself as Flowstream, spoke up. "Dr. Parker, this pressure would instantly crush any known spacecraft hull. Your submarine should be compressed into a ball smaller than your fist." Beth looked around. Her submarine. It was built tough, but she had never thought of it as some kind of miracle of engineering. "Well, it's built to handle the pressure. We've been making deep ocean vehicles for decades. What materials do you use?" The energy being, called Brightspark, asked. "Mostly titanium steel alloy with some composite materials for flexibility." Beth patted the wall of her submarine. "Nothing too fancy." The aliens ran their sensors over the submarine's hull. The readings they got back made no sense. The materials were strong, but not nearly strong enough to withstand the crushing force of the deep ocean. Yet somehow the submarine was not only surviving but operating normally. "How is this possible?" Veltar whispered. Beth shrugged. "Good engineering, I guess. Want to see some of the creatures that live down here?" She turned on her external lights and cameras. The aliens watched as bizarre creatures swam past the submarine. There were fish with transparent heads, octopi that glowed in the dark, and worms that were longer than most alien spacecraft. "These organisms live at this depth permanently?" Flowstream asked. "Oh yes, they're specially adapted for it. Some of them have never seen sunlight. They live off the heat from underwater volcanoes and the chemicals that seep up from the ocean floor." Beth pointed to a group of tube worms clustered around a vent in the ocean floor. "Those worms live in water that's hot enough to melt lead. They actually eat the sulfur compounds that would be toxic to most life forms." The aliens stared at the creatures in horror. According to their databases, the conditions these animals lived in would be classified as a high-security containment zone, yet here they were, thriving in numbers that suggested a healthy ecosystem. "Dr. Parker," Brightspark said carefully, "on most worlds, these conditions would be considered extremely hazardous." "Do you not find this environment dangerous?" Beth laughed. "Dangerous? Well, sure, if you're not prepared for it. But that's true of any environment. The deep ocean is actually quite peaceful once you get used to it. No storms, no weather, just quiet darkness and amazing creatures." She guided the submarine toward an underwater mountain where even stranger creatures lived. Giant crabs the size of dinner tables scuttled across the seafloor. Fish with their own lights built into their bodies swam in perfect formations. Plants that weren't really plants grew in gardens around hot water vents. The biodiversity down here is incredible, Beth continued. "We discover new species every time we come down. Life finds a way to adapt to any environment. Life finds a way to adapt to any environment." The aliens made note of this phrase. It seemed to be a common human belief, and it was apparently true. As they watched, Beth collected samples of water, rock, and even some of the creatures. She handled materials that would dissolve the hull of most alien ships. She captured animals that would be classified as biological weapons on most worlds. She did all of this while chatting casually about her research as if she were discussing the weather. "How long can you stay at this depth?" Veltar asked. "In this submarine?" "About 12 hours before I need to surface for air and supplies. But some of our research stations can stay down for weeks at a time." Weeks, the aliens processed this information. Humans could survive in conditions that would kill most species instantly, and they could do it for weeks at a time. After several hours of observation, the aliens returned to their own ship. Beth waved goodbye as they disappeared, then went back to her research. She had no idea that she had just caused 3 alien scientists to question everything they thought they knew about life in the universe. Meanwhile, On the other side of the planet, another survey team was making equally disturbing discoveries in the Sahara Desert. Dr. Dan Murphy had been working in the desert for 5 years, studying how wind and sand shape the landscape over time. He was used to the heat, the dryness, and the endless expanse of sand dunes. What he wasn't used to was alien visitors. The survey team materialized near his research camp, just as the sun reached its highest point in the sky. The temperature was 125 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to cook most alien species in minutes. "Greetings, Dr. Murphy," the lead alien said through its translator. "We are here to study your desert environment." Dan looked up from his equipment and smiled. "Great timing. This is perfect weather for desert research. Not too hot yet." "Not too hot yet." The aliens checked their sensors. The ambient temperature was already beyond the survival range of 95% of known species. "Dr. Murphy," one of the aliens asked, "do you not require cooling equipment in this environment?" Dan looked down at his light clothing and wide-brimmed hat. "Just the basics. You want to cover up to prevent sunburn, and you need to drink plenty of water. Other than that, it's pretty comfortable." Pretty comfortable. The aliens made another note. As the day went on, the temperature continued to rise. By mid-afternoon, it reached 135 degrees. Dan continued working as if nothing was happening. He collected rock samples, measured wind patterns, and recorded data while the aliens watched in amazement from their climate-controlled observation chamber. "The solar radiation alone should be lethal," one alien observer noted. "Look at his skin," another replied. "It's changing color to adapt to the radiation exposure." Dan was indeed getting a suntan, his skin naturally darkening to protect itself from the harmful radiation. To the aliens, this looked like some kind of miraculous biological defense system. When evening came, the temperature dropped rapidly. Within a few hours, it went from 135 degrees to 45 degrees. The aliens expected Dan to activate some kind of heating system. Instead, he just put on a jacket and continued working. "Doesn't the temperature change bother you?" an alien asked. "Desert temperatures always swing like this," Dan explained. "Hot during the day, cold at night. You just dress in layers and adapt. You just adapt." There was that phrase again, the final survey team report was the most disturbing of all. Team Epsilon had visited what humans called a sports stadium, where thousands of humans gathered to watch other humans engage in what could only be the emergency meeting of the Galactic Confederation Council. Was unlike anything in the organization's 50,000-year history. Harmony's Edge, the massive space station that served as the neutral meeting place for all galactic species, was buzzing with activity. Ships from 847 different worlds had arrived in just 48 hours. Council Prime Zethara floated at the center of the Great Assembly Hall. She was an ancient energy being who had lived for over 10,000 years and had seen the rise and fall of dozens of civilizations. In all her time, she had never called an emergency session this urgent. The assembly hall was enormous, designed to accommodate every type of life form in the galaxy. Some delegates floated in tanks of liquid methane. Others existed as pure energy, fields contained in special chambers. Some were so large they appeared only as holographic projections, while others were so small they needed magnification screens to be seen. "Honored delegates," Zithara's voice echoed through the hall in hundreds of different languages. "We are here to discuss a discovery that may change our understanding of life itself." A wave of nervous energy passed through the assembled representatives. Emergency sessions were rare and usually meant war, plague, or the discovery of a new threat to galactic civilization. Survey Chief Vorthek stepped forward to the center of the hall. His crystal body was still vibrating with stress from his experiences on Earth. "Esteemed council members, what I am about to tell you will sound impossible. 3 weeks ago, we completed our survey of the planet these humans call Earth. The Main display screen showed Earth slowly rotating, its blue oceans and green continents looking peaceful and beautiful. Murmurs of appreciation came from some delegates. It looked like a paradise world. This world has been classified as Class 13 in our database, Vorthak continued. For those unfamiliar with the classification system, this means it is a death world. Of the highest order. No intelligent species should be able to survive there. The murmurs stopped. Several delegates activated their translation systems to make sure they had heard correctly. The planet's gravity is 1.7 times the galactic standard. Vorthak explained as data began scrolling past the assembled delegates. This level of gravitational force would crush the internal organs of 89% of known species. Ambassador Zixto of the Weightless Ones, a species that lived in zero gravity, spoke up. Surely the inhabitants must use anti-gravity technology? No. Ambassador. They live with full gravitational force at all times. In fact, they have developed recreational activities that involve fighting against even stronger gravitational forces. The screen showed video of humans on amusement park rides, spinning in circles and being thrown around by forces that would kill most aliens instantly. The humans were laughing and enjoying themselves. The atmospheric composition includes 21% oxygen, Vorthak continued. This gas is highly reactive and would cause rapid cellular damage to most species. It would literally burn the internal organs of 78% of our member races. Delegate Hishmuth, whose species breathed pure nitrogen, made a sound of horror. How do they not die from oxygen poisoning? They require oxygen to live. Their entire biology is based on controlled oxygen reactions within their cells. They cannot survive without it. The assembly hall erupted in confused chatter. The idea of a species that needed a deadly gas to survive was beyond most delegates' understanding. Vorthak waited for quiet, then continued. The planet's weather systems regularly produce kinetic events equivalent to orbital bombardments, rotating air masses with speeds exceeding most atmospheric vehicle capabilities. Electrical discharges powerful enough to destroy spacecraft. The screen showed footage of hurricanes, tornadoes, and lightning storms. To most of the delegates, it looked like footage from a war zone. Surely they shelter underground during these events? Asked Delegate Soft Whisper of the Fragile Folk. No, many humans actually travel to observe these weather events. They call it storm chasing and consider it a hobby. Shocked silence filled the hall. A species that chased deadly weather for fun was beyond comprehension. The planet's temperature. Variations span a range of over 180 degrees, Vorthak continued. From frozen zones where water becomes solid, to desert regions hot enough to denature most protein structures. And the humans? Asked Delegate Wormglow, whose species could only survive in a 5-degree temperature range. They live in all of these environments. They have permanent settlements in the frozen zones and the burning deserts. They swim in water that should freeze them solid and work in heat that should cook their internal organs. The screen showed footage of humans skiing in snow, surfing in oceans, and working in desert conditions that looked like the surface of a star. Ambassador Kethver, who had made first contact with the humans, spoke up. Tell them about the pressure experiments. Vorthak's crystal body dimmed with stress. We observed humans descending to the bottom of their oceans, where the pressure is over 1,000 times their atmospheric norm. This pressure would compress most of our spacecraft into objects smaller than a pebble. How do they survive? Asked Delegate Flow Easy of the Liquid Peoples. They build vehicles out of common metals and descend regularly. They consider it routine scientific research. The delegates began talking among themselves in dozens of languages. The translation systems couldn't keep up with all the confused chatter. Council Prime Zethara called for order. There is more? Much more, Vorthak said grimly. They consume beverages hot enough to cause severe burns. They eat foods that contain natural toxins and acids. They expose themselves deliberately to their star's radiation to change their skin color. And they survive this? Asked Delegate Crystal Song. They thrive on it. But perhaps most disturbing of all, they engage in recreational violence. The screen showed footage from various human sports. Football players colliding with bone-crushing force. Boxers hitting each other repeatedly. Race car drivers moving at speeds that would be considered reckless for military vehicles. They do this for entertainment, Verthek explained. Thousands gather to watch other humans deliberately injure themselves. The participants enjoy it. The spectators cheer for more violence. The assembly hall fell completely silent. Even the background hum of life support systems seemed to quiet down. Delegate Mindpiece of the Pacifist Alliance was the first to speak. Are they a warrior species? Are they planning to conquer the galaxy? That is what makes this so disturbing, Vorthik replied. They appear to be genuinely peaceful and friendly. They welcomed us with open arms. They offered to share their knowledge and resources. They seem to have no idea how terrifying they are. Dr. Miranda Hayes, Earth's representative to the Confederation, had been waiting in a special observation chamber. She had no idea what the emergency meeting was about, but she had been invited to address the council after the survey report. I believe it is time to hear from the humans themselves. Council Prime Zethara announced. Dr. Hayes entered the assembly hall and walked calmly to the center. She was a middle-aged woman with graying hair and kind eyes. She wore a simple blue dress and carried herself with quiet confidence. To the assembled delegates, she looked completely harmless. But after hearing the survey report, they all knew that this fragile-looking being was actually one of the most dangerous life forms in the galaxy. Thank you for inviting me to speak, Miranda said with a warm smile. I'm honored to represent Earth before such a distinguished gathering. Her voice was gentle and friendly. She showed no signs of the incredible physical capabilities that the survey had documented. She didn't look like she could survive in crushing ocean depths or burning deserts. Dr. Hayes, Council Prime Zithara, said carefully, "Are you aware that your species has somehow evolved to thrive on what we classify as the most dangerous type of world in known space?" Miranda looked confused. "I'm sorry, I don't understand. Earth is just our home. It's a beautiful planet with diverse environments and amazing life forms. Your planet's environmental conditions would be instantly fatal to most species represented." In this chamber, Zithara explained gently. Miranda's confusion deepened. Fatal, but we've lived there for hundreds of thousands of years. Humans have spread to every continent and adapted to every climate. We consider Earth to be quite hospitable to life. The delegates exchanged glances. This human truly had no idea how extraordinary her species was. Dr. Hayes, Ambassador Kethver, spoke up. During our survey, we observed humans engaging in activities that would be considered extremely dangerous by galactic standards. Swimming in your oceans, working in your deserts, playing games that involve physical trauma. Do you not consider these activities risky? Miranda thought about this for a moment. Well, sure, there are risks in any activity, but humans are pretty good at managing risk. We use proper equipment, we train for dangerous activities, and we understand our limitations, most of the time, anyway. Most of the time, the delegates noted this phrase with alarm. But these activities are not necessary for survival, pressed Delegate Safe Harbor of the Cautious Collective. Why do humans choose to expose themselves to additional danger? Miranda smiled. Because that's how we grow and learn. Challenge makes us stronger. We explore dangerous places because that's where we make. 6 months had passed since the Emergency Council meeting that changed everything. The Galactic Confederation had made a decision that surprised everyone, including the humans. Earth was not only granted immediate membership, but humanity was given a special status that had never existed before in galactic history. Captain Ron Blake stood on the bridge of the UES Pioneer, humanity's first deep space exploration vessel. The ship was a joint project between Earth and the Confederation, built using human engineering principles with alien technology. It was designed to go places that no other species would dare to visit. "Captain, we're approaching the Hellfire system," reported Navigation Officer Greg Collins. He was a young man who had always dreamed of exploring space, though he never imagined his first mission would be to a place considered too dangerous for any other species in the galaxy. Ron looked at the main screen as their destination came into view. The Hellfire system contained 3 planets orbiting an unstable star that threw off massive radiation bursts every few hours. The planets themselves were classified as Class 9 and Class 10 Deathworlds, with surface conditions that would destroy most spacecraft just by landing on them. "Looks interesting," Ron said with a smile. "Dr. Foster, are you ready for this?" Dr. Amy Foster was the ship's chief medical officer and xenobiologist. She was excited about the chance to study life forms that might exist in such extreme conditions. "More than ready, Captain. If there's life down there, we need to understand how it survives." The ship's alien crew members listened to this conversation with amazement. To them, the humans sounded like they were planning a vacation to a resort, not a scientific mission to planets that could kill them in dozens of different ways. Zekthar, the ship's Confederation science officer, had been working with humans for 3 months now. He was a member of the Crystalline Collective, and his crystal body still vibrated with nervous energy whenever he watched humans work. "Captain Blake," Zekthar said carefully, "our sensors indicate that the radiation levels in this system are 400 times the lethal dose for most species. Are you certain your ship's shielding is adequate?" Ron checked the radiation readings on his console. "We're well within acceptable limits. The ship can handle 10 times more radiation than this. Human spacecraft are built pretty tough." "Pretty tough," Zekthar made another note in his observation log. Human definitions of acceptable and tough continued to amaze him. The alien crew members had requested this assignment specifically to study humans in their natural element. What they had learned over the past months had changed their understanding of life itself. When the ship had launched from Earth, the aliens had been terrified by the launch process itself. Human spacecraft used controlled explosions to achieve orbit, riding pillars of fire and toxic chemicals into space. Most alien vessels used gentle anti-gravity fields or matter displacement drives. They strapped themselves to a bomb and lighted it on fire, one alien observer had reported back to the Confederation, and they consider this normal transportation. But that was just the beginning. During their journey to the Hellfire system, the humans had demonstrated capabilities that defied all known biological science when the ship's gravity generator had malfunctioned, leaving half the vessel in zero gravity. The alien crew had activated emergency protocols and prepared for medical emergencies. The humans had simply adapted within hours, learning to move and work in weightlessness as if they had been born to it. "Humans just adjust," Zekthar had noted in his report. Their bodies seemed capable of adapting to any environmental change within days or even hours. When a solar storm had increased radiation levels throughout the ship, the aliens had retreated to their heavily shielded emergency chambers. The humans had continued working normally, with only minor precautions like taking vitamin supplements to help their bodies process the extra radiation. Now, as they approached planets that would be considered maximum security prisons by most galactic standards, the humans were planning to land and explore on foot. "We're receiving a transmission from Confederation Command," Communications Officer Lisa Park reported. "Admiral Vorthak wants to speak with you, Captain." The screen flickered to life, showing the familiar crystal form of Admiral Vorthak, who had been promoted after his survey of Earth. He was now in charge of what the Confederation called the Human Integration Project. "Captain Blake, I trust your mission is proceeding well?" The Admiral asked. "Everything's going smoothly, Admiral. We should be able to complete the planetary survey within a week." "Excellent. I have an update on the Confederation's response to your species' capabilities. The High Council has approved 3 new mission types that will be exclusively assigned to human crews." Ron raised an eyebrow. "What kind of missions?" "First, rescue operations on hostile worlds. Anytime we have personnel stranded on Class 7 or higher Deathworlds, human ships will be dispatched for recovery." Amy looked up from her science station. "That makes sense. We're probably the only species that can safely land on those worlds." "Second, exploration of systems previously considered too dangerous for investigation. Your species' ability to survive in extreme conditions means we can finally study phenomena that have been mysteries for thousands of years." Greg grinned. "Sounds like fun. What's the third mission type?" Admiral Vorthak's crystal structure dimmed slightly. "Diplomatic contact with species that live on hostile worlds. We have discovered several intelligent species that exist on planets too dangerous for normal first contact protocols. Humans will serve as intermediaries," Ron nodded. "We'd be honored to help with diplomatic missions." What the humans didn't fully understand was how dramatically their presence had changed the galaxy. Species that had been trapped on their homeworlds for centuries because space travel was too dangerous were now able to explore with human assistance. Worlds that had been written off as uninhabitable were being reconsidered for colonization with human help. But perhaps the most significant change was in how other species viewed their own limitations. On the cautious collective homeworld, young cautions were beginning to question their species' traditional avoidance of all risk. If humans could thrive by embracing challenge, perhaps other species could benefit from pushing their own boundaries. Even if only slightly, the fragile folk had begun developing new protective technologies inspired by human engineering principles. Instead of avoiding danger, they were learning to prepare for it. Even the ancient crystalline collective was reconsidering some of their most basic assumptions about survival and growth. As the UES Pioneer approached the first planet in the Hellfire system, the ship's sensors detected something extraordinary. There were signs of life on the surface, complex organisms that had somehow evolved to thrive in conditions that would sterilize most worlds. "Captain, you need to see this," Amy called out from her science station. "I'm detecting not just life, but what appears to be intelligent life." The main screen showed structures on the planet's surface that were clearly artificial. They were built from materials that could withstand the constant radiation and extreme temperatures, arranged in patterns that suggested a sophisticated civilization. "They're trying to communicate with us," Lisa reported. "I'm picking up directed transmissions on multiple frequencies." Ron made a decision that would have terrified most alien commanders. "Prepare a landing party. We're going down to make first contact." Zekthar's crystal body began vibrating rapidly. "Captain, the surface temperature is 300 degrees above the boiling point of water. The atmospheric pressure would crush most landing craft. The radiation levels would be lethal within minutes." "Sounds like a typical Tuesday for a human exploration." "Team," Greg said with a laugh, "we've got the right equipment for this." As the human landing party prepared to descend to the planet, Zekthar realized he was witnessing history. No other species in the galaxy would even consider such a mission. But for humans, it was just another day of exploration and discovery. The aliens who lived on this hellish world had been alone for thousands of years, believing they were the only intelligence in the universe because no other species could survive. The journey to reach them. Today, they would learn that they had neighbors after all. When the human shuttle landed on the planet's surface and the crew stepped out in their protective suits, they were greeted by beings made of living metal who had evolved to thrive in conditions that would destroy most spacecraft. Greetings, Ron said through his suit's translator. We are humans from the planet Earth. We come in peace. The metal beings were silent for a long moment. Then their leader spoke in a voice like grinding gears. You are not from this world. Yet you survive our environment. How is this possible? Amy stepped forward. We come from a world that others consider dangerous. We've learned to adapt to extreme conditions. Dangerous? The alien leader asked. What could be more dangerous than our world? Ron and Amy exchanged glances. Explaining Earth to beings who lived on a Class 9 Deathworld was going to be interesting. Back on the ship, Zekthar was writing his daily report to the Confederation. Humans have successfully made first contact with a previously unknown species living on a Class 9 Deathworld. They describe the conditions as challenging but manageable. I am beginning to